To essentially a little shack where your client is sitting at a table, his feet are shackled.
A Heartland attorney shares his experiences behind the fence of Guantanamo Bay. Good afternoon, everyone. You've heard a lot of talk lately about the prison camp under scrutiny for its treatment of terror suspects. One of President Barack Obama's first decisions has been to issue an executive order to close the detention center at Guantanamo Bay. It's within a year. Carly O'Keefe's live tonight, and Carly, I know you spoke with someone who actually has some experience at Gitmo.
That's right, Jeff. Scott Tilden is a federal public defender based in Cape Girardeau, and since 2005, he's represented 2 Afghani Guantanamo Bay detainees. One was released after being held for nearly 3 years, while the other remains in the camp nearly 6 years after his capture, with no right to a trial to determine if he even belongs behind bars.
Federal public defender Scott Tilsen says he's seen injustice firsthand in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. His client, 28-year-old Mustafa Sohail, has been held in the camp since 2003 without charges and, according to Tilsen, without cause.
I went to Kabul, Afghanistan, and met the father of my client, and I held him in my arms as he cried. I cried too. The client I have there is the oldest of a child in the family, and he had a good job. He was helping support the family. And his dad was there when he was arrested, actually by private security, not by American military or Afghani police. And he hasn't seen him since.
Tilsen says his client is just one of many detainees whose imprisonment violates the basic principles of the United States Constitution.
In taking these people to Guantanamo, and the process that was available to him was really un-American. There are certainly people that are bad and should be there, but there's way too many that shouldn't. And that's a tragedy not only for the people whose lives we've taken, but it's a tragedy for our country.
Now that President Obama has ordered the closure of Guantanamo Bay, Tilsen says he's hopeful that action will help the United States regain its moral standing in the world.
Closing Guantanamo says to the world that we're now doing something about what the world has perceived as a real injustice.
Tilsen also hopes closing the doors to Guantanamo will mean freedom for his client.
I'm very sad about my client who's still there, because we've stolen most of his 20s from him. And he's a person who could really contribute to the rebuilding of his country if he had been given an opportunity to do so.
Now, not everyone wants to see Guantanamo Bay closed. On Monday, the parents of 5 9/11 victims held a news conference. They're demanding the camp stay open. They say the military commission system that's in place there is appropriate. Republican House Minority Leader John Boehner also wants the camp to stay open. He's worried that the people housed at Guantanamo Bay could wind up back out on the battlefield. Live, local, late breaking. Carly O'Keefe, Heartland News.
All right, Carly, thank you. There's been